And I also hope that you are having an amazing day. All right. So for our lesson for today, we are doing our grade 7 English lesson on apostrophes. All right. So before we start with our lesson on apostrophes, we are going to log into the aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged into aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, we're going to select the subject of language arts. The subject of language, which is English, right? All right, and then we go to grade 7. Okay, so once we get to the chapters, right, we are going to scroll down we're going to scroll down because today's lesson we are doing apostrophes. So we're going to scroll down up until we get to apostrophes. Once we are in the chapter of apostrophes, our focus lesson for today is going to be identify and correct errors with plural as well as possessive nouns, right? So usually or mainly when we put apostrophes, then apostrophe it shows possession, right? Whether it is singular or whether it is plural. But we are going to find out more about that in today's lesson. So we say today's lesson is identify and correct errors with plural and possessive nouns. All right, so now we are within our lesson to identify and correct the errors and plural and with plural and possessive nouns, right? A plural noun, it names more than one person, because that is with plural, either more than one person, place, animal, thing, or idea. But in this case, a plural noun, it names more than one person, more than one place, or more than one thing, right? And a possessive noun, it shows who or what owns something or has something. So who owns something or who has something, right? It basically shows a form of ownership, if that is what we would put it, right? So possessive nouns, it shows either who or what owns something or has something, right? So we then add apostrophe, right, and s. So we add the apostrophe and the s to a singular noun to make it a possessive noun. So singular referring either to one person, one place, or one thing, right? In order to make it a possessive noun. For example, we have Matt, right? Probably Matt, short for Matthew, for example. So Matt, don't Matt, right? So Matt, if we want to show basically possession or possessiveness within that name, right? Or within a sentence, we can put it like that also. Then we then add the apostrophe s. The bird. The bird, if we want to show possession or possessiveness, right? And then we say the bird, it's one bird, right? Now we say the bird's wings. Maybe the bird hurt a wing or hurt the or injured the wing, right? So we can now refer to the bird's wing. but that is a singular noun, right? And we just add an apostrophe and an s in order to make that a possessive noun. Then also, right, if a plural noun ends with an s, right? So now we have a plural noun. The word ends with an s to show that there's more than one, right? So if the plural noun ends with an s, and then we put the apostrophe at the end of that noun, right? Only the apostrophe because it's already an S, right? And here we have an example of the boys. So boys is more than one, it is plural, right? And which means that it also ends with an S. But now, once we put the apostrophe to it, then we only put the apostrophe behind boys. So we then say the boys' camp, right? And we put the apostrophe outside of that word at the end of that noun. And then we also have another example of the schools. It refers to more than one school. And now they're talking about the school's team, right? Or teams. And there we have an apostrophe outside, or let's say at the end of that noun, which is schools, right? So once again, singular noun, right? In order for it to make it possessive, we can either put an apostrophe and s. Then we have plural, right? If the word or the noun is plural, it's a plural noun. And in order to show the possessive or to show the possession, then we can just add an apostrophe because the S is already there. So we just add an apostrophe. But then also when a plural noun does not change in S, so when a plural noun does not end in S, but it refers to more than one person, right? Then we still add the apostrophe at the end of that noun to make it possessive noun. So the children is it refers basically to more than one child, right? So the children or the children's. So we say the children's, which is apostrophe s. So the children already refers to more than one person. But now, in order to show ownership, possession, we can say the children's toys. So as you can see, children, it does not end with an S. So we don't just put an apostrophe, we put an apostrophe S because the S is already given. We also have an example of the mice. The mice is refers to more than one little sly mice that runs around. Now we have the mices. So the mices, tails. So we said that it, if the word is in plural, but it does not end in an S, we put apostrophe S. But if it is plural and ends in an S, then we just add the apostrophe. Just the apostrophe because the S is already there, right? So once again, a plural noun, it names more than one person, place, or thing. And then a possessive noun, it shows who or what owns something or has something. All right, so if we look at our first sentence here, it says authors should be authors, which is, it's authors or authors. Let me add those. Let me underline. So words is given to us, right? We now need to say which word is correct, right? You see, we were talking about answers or questions being a bit tricky within the test. So in this case, they're also trying to make it a bit tricky in the sense of we need to find the mean. We need to say, sorry, we need to say which one is the correct apostrophe. Is it authors with an apostrophe or authors apostrophe s? So authors should be authors, which is a singular possessive nouns, right? So if we, for example, have the word author, right? So author referring to one person, and we want to say it is author's bag, and then we just add an apostrophe and s, right? We add an apostrophe and s because it is a singular possessive noun, right? And we take the singular noun author and we just add the apostrophe and we add the s to make it possessive, right? The tales of the great knights of King Arthur's court live on epic poems that we have survived from the Middle Age. So Arthur, King Arthur. All right, let's look at this one. City, city, right? So city. We need to show a form of position or possessive this when it comes to Cindy. So is it city, sorry, city, or is it cities, which is the first one, Citys, and then apostrophe, or City apostrophe S. So we need to say which one is correct. All right, so if we look at all of them, we are definitely going to say that cities, right? So cities, if we add, let's say, we want to show possession or possessiveness, right? Then we say cities. So we add an apostrophe and an s. So cities, city, which is a singular possessive noun, it takes a singular possessive noun of city, so city and cities, and we add an apostrophe s to make it possessive, right? All right, so now we have another word, hoods. Hoods. All right, so if we look at words, right, our singular noun, right? So singular noun word, words with. We add an apostrophe and an s to make it possible, right? So we don't just add an apostrophe at the end of the noun. We add an apostrophe and then s after or we say during, or not even during, basically just before. So it's the end of the word, right? So we put in a apostrophe is. So like once again, whole words do not put the apostrophe outside, right? And we said that these are singular possessive nouns, right? And we add an apostrophe s to make it possessive. And the context is William Wordsworth departed from the conventions of 18th century poetry, which valued aristocratic, heroic language. The Wordsworth. Oh gosh, this is Wordsworth, not words. This Wordsworth. Sorry. The Wordsworth romantic style of poetry used more natural, everyday language. So this is Wordsworth, right? So we don't add the apostrophe. We don't just add an apostrophe at the end of a word, we add apostrophe s to show position, right? And it shows position um, within a sentence. All right. So we need to basically find the plural or possessive error, right? So we said that the errors are mainly the apostrophes, right? Some is the apostrophes. Remember, we need to put an apostrophe and s if the word is singular. Then we also put an apostrophe and s if the word is plural, but it does not end with an s, right? And then we add an apostrophe at the end of that word if the word is plural and ends with an s, right? If we look at an example, right? All right. So singles should be singles, right? So singles should be singles, right? So singles, if we say singles should be single, right? Then we don't add an apostrophe. We just say singles. No apostrophe needed at all, right? Because it is a plural noun. And a plural noun, it does not use apostrophes, right? So plural noun, it does not use apostrophes. So instead of singles with an apostrophe s, we can just say singles with no apostrophe, and we then basically, or let's say, yeah, with no apostrophe, because singles is basically just straightforward, and we say singles, right? And now the content of where the singles come from. The tennis players Venus and Serena Williams have gained widespread fame and recognition for the for their incredible talent. So the tennis players Venus and Serena Williams have gained widespread fame and recognition for their incredible talent. And what is a talent? It is playing the sport, which is tennis, right? The two sisters accomplished accomplishments, including multiple Grand Slam titles and 4 Olympic gold medals, medals, one each in singles and 3 in those, right? And that is where the context of the singles come in, right? All right. We already went over singular and what we basically add. We say we add a apostrophe and is if it is a singular form, right, of possessive noun. And then we said with plural, we add, and the word ends in is, we just add the apostrophe at the end of that word. So banks should be banks, right? Banks should be banks, not apostrophe or is apostrophe. Nope. Bank is just bank. So no apostrophe. So it is only as clear as you can have a white top, black top, sorry, banks. So we don't add no apostrophe because now it means that we are just referring to more than one bank. So banks, no position at all. So bank should be banks, which is a plural noun, and a plural noun does not use an apostrophe. So a plural noun doesn't use an apostrophe. The American Civil War's last land battle, the Battle of Palmito Road, occurred on the banks of the Rio Grande in Texas. So on the banks, right? That is basically where the ships come, and then they have, it's basically on the water bank. So they either return things, take things, or so on. So we do not say apostrophe is. So banks, no apostrophe. All right, let's do a little test. Okay, so now we need to find the plural or possessive era. We need to find the plural or the possessive era within our sentence, right? In our explanations and activities, we basically picked up what the errors were, right? Some were either in a possessive, was basically we you had the apostrophe and the s, or just an s, or just an apostrophe, but that was basically the error, right? So some errors weren't clear. So in this case, we are going to select the error. So the plural or possessive error we are going to find in that sentence. So fields of, so dandelions linked the highway between our town and the coast. Fields of dandelions lined the highway between our town and coast. The flowers' round white seeds heads popped in the gentle breeze. So is it dandelions, which is apostrophe, or dandelions just with an S? So fields of dandelions. So I think it is without the apostrophe. So because they're saying the field of dandelions, right, which refers to more than one plant, right, or a bush of plants, right? So we can say field of dandelions. Lovely, beautiful. Have you had lunch at the Peasant Hill Diner yet? So have you had lunch at the Peasant Hill Diner? The restaurants, either with the apostrophe or the restaurants apostrophe s. Menu features several fantastic salads, including one with fresh tuna and peaches. So restaurants with S apostrophe or restaurants with apostrophe S. So the menu. All right, so the restaurants, let's choose this one. The restaurants menu, right? Because we are referring to one restaurant. And if we're referring to one restaurant and we are now showing possession or possessive, or showing ownership or who it belongs to, right? And then we just put an apostrophe S. So we need to find the plural or the possessive error. Select it and type it correctly. We're not going to type it, we're just going to select it. So before highways were built and automobiles were widely available, a traveler's main transportation option were horse driving and toll and rail. Oh. So before highways were built and automobiles were widely available, a traveler's main transportation options were horse-driven coach and railway. So coach and railway. So we need to find the plural or possessive error, right? So before highways were built, or the second option, before highways were built and automobiles were widely available, a traveler's main transportation options were horse-driven coach and railway. So we need to change the, we need to see which one is correct between the two. Highways, so before highways were built, right? So if we want to say before highways were built, then we are not adding the apostrophe, right? We're not adding the apostrophe because highways, it just refers to, it is basically just plural form, right? It is just basically plural form, which shows that before more than one highway were built. So we can say highways instead of with the apostrophe. All right. Okay, so in this case, right, we said that sometimes our tests can be very tricky, right? Especially on our app, right? So they're saying that we had to select the error, right? So in this case, the first option is correct, right? So before highways were built and automobiles were widely available, a traveler's main transportation option were horse-driven coach and railway, right? So in this case, if you got something incorrect, right, then you can go and look for where the correct answer is, copy the link, share it with us, and you will be able to get 100 bonus points, right? All right, got it. We need to find the plural or possessive error. Select it and type it correctly. Brian. Brian's thoughts wandered from his grocery list to some concerns he had about his career. Or is it the second one? Brian's thoughts wandered from his grocery list to some concerns he had about his career. So Brian's, right? So if we refer to Brian, then remember we said a singular noun. right? A singular noun, we need to put apostrophe and is. Apostrophe and is. So we can say brains, which is the second one, which is brains with apostrophe and is, not brains with the apostrophe at the end, because brain is, no, we're not referring to more than one. All right. Unlike most woodpeckers, Alabama's state bird, the yellow hammer woodpecker, doesn't have the strength to drill into most trees, so it usually searches for food along the ground. So, so is it the first option or the second option that reads, unlike most woodpeckers, Alabama's state bird, the yellowhammer woodpecker, doesn't have the strength to drill into most trees, so it usually searches for food along the ground. So unlike most woodpeckers, so we need to choose one of the correct ones by either just choosing or finding the plural or finding the possessive error. So it says, unlike most woodpeckers, Alabama's state bird, the yellowhammer woodpecker, doesn't have the strength to drill into most of the tree. So which means that the error is over here. So the first one is the error, right? So basically the first one is the error. So as much as the answer shows correct, right? But the first one is the error and the correct one is the second one, right? So I just selected the error, but I had to select the correct one, which is unlike most woodpeckers, Alabama's state bird, the yellowhammer woodpecker, doesn't have the strength to drill into most trees, so it usually searches for food along the ground. Remember, if you get something incorrect, right, then you need to search for the answer. Once you find the answer, copy that answers or copy the link, send it to us, and you will get 100 bonus points. All right, so we need to find the plural possessive error, select it, and not type it out. So, the American Civil War. So, the American Civil War's last land battle of the Battle of Palmito Ranch occurred on the banks of the Rio Grande in Texas. Or the American Civil War's last land battle, the Battle of Palmito Ranch, occurred on the banks of the Rio Grande in Texas. So we will then choose the first one. So the American Civil War's last land battle, Battle of Palmito Ranch, occurred on the banks, which refer to more than one banks, of the Rio Grande in Texas. Right? Not the apostrophe. Okay, we're going to do one last one. Cactus or cacti or cactus shape and size can vary significantly. Some species grow not wider than half an inch, while others can grow up to 60 feet tall. Cactus shapes and sizes can vary significantly. Some species grow no wider than half an inch, while others can grow up to 60 feet tall. Let me see which one. All right, so if we were to choose the correct one, let's choose cactuses. Cactuses, shapes and sizes. Let's choose the second one. All right, so if we choose the second one, right? The second one, it is the incorrect one, right? Remember, we said that it can be very tricky. So if you get an answer wrong, find the answer, copy the link, copy the answer, send it to us, and you'll get 100 bonus points, which means that it is cactus, right? So cactus, the cacti or cactus shapes and sizes may vary, right? And remember, I am also just doing that to show that it is a bit tricky, right? So that is basically apostrophes, right? And we said with apostrophes, right, we add apostrophes to show some form of positions, right? Or possessiveness, right? And we said singular, either singular nouns, where it is a singular person, place, thing, or idea, right? We put the apostrophe and the S, right? We show the apostrophe and the S to show possession or to show possessiveness, right? And then if the noun or the noun is a plural noun and it is the word ends in S, so the plural noun ends in S, then we only add the apostrophe at the end of that noun. And then yes, right? And that is then how we identify plural or singular possessive nouns. All right. So we said that apostrophes, right, are used to indicate position or possessiveness. If something belongs to me, then I will say Nadine's laptop, right? By adding the apostrophe S, and that shows the possession, right? It is mine. It belongs to me, right? Whether I'm not the owner, but it belongs to me, for example. And apostrophes are not used to indicate plurality, right? Which means it's more than one, right? And plurality, which is plural, only the two police officers are smiling. So officers refers to more than one, right? They are smiling. Then we also have singular position. Only one police, and now the officers. Beard is brown. And then we have plural possession, which is the two police officers. By adding the apostrophe at the end, hats are blue, right? And that shows possession, especially at the bottom. All right. So now if we look at the activity in front of us, it says we need to use apostrophes to show position. So we are now going to use the apostrophe to show position, and in the box or in the speed bubble it says for singular nouns we add the apostrophe and S to show position. For example, cat plus S, car plus S equals to cats. Yeah, it's cats. Cat plus S equals to cats, right? And that is the apostrophe, the cat's toys. Whose toy is it? Who takes possession or ownership of it? It is the cat. All right, so now we're going on to the next one. It says use apostrophes to show possession. All right, my cousin, we need to choose that word in bracket. Bicycle is larger than mine. So cousin. So if it's cousin, then we are going to say my cousin's bicycle is larger than mine. And there we put the apostrophe to show the possession. The doll's hair is blonde. So the doll's hair is blonde. So we're going to say the doll's is. The chair cushion is loose. So the chair's cushion is loose, right? So we don't say the chairs for more than one chairs. We say the chairs is. The phone ringtone is annoying. So the phone ringtone is annoying. So the phones apostrophe is. I'm sorry. This is my aunt pin. So we can say my aunt. And we have hidden the dog's bone. You can say dog's bone. Right, so that is but a few of the words where we put the apostrophe and the S, or the apostrophe to show position, or apostrophe to show possessiveness. Right, so instead of saying my cousin bicycle, my cousin's bicycle, right? My doll house, my doll's house, right? We have hidden the dog's bone, my dog's bones, for example. All right. All right, so that is the position, the apostrophes. Okay, so sorry. That is now basically the end of our lesson on apostrophes, right? And we see the apostrophes, it's where we add an apostrophe and S, or we just add an apostrophe either to show position or to show if it's a singular position or a position from a plural point, right? So that is the end of our lesson, grade 7s. Thank you very much for joining the class. You should have an amazing evening, brother. Goodbye.